entering, I would like to request all gentlemen.
office. We don't call them guests. They are the leaders because you elected this year. I've seen the deputy president has gone out. Comrades. We have the Deputy General Secretary of our organization, Comrade Provincial. Vice President for Education, appreciate it. Legamoso. Then comrades from the store, Matazi.
Unite, Sadtu, unite.
And comrade, we have the provincial chairperson of our movement, the African National Congress, comrade Golis Tukwala, and member of Sadtu, leader of Sadtu, and what is the member of Sadtu? Sister provinces. The provinces are Rona, the Dengwan. Kibukoni Bupuri. Nale, the provincial chairperson, Comrade Mike, Northwest. Uzamaya le mungodi wa Comrade George Elstemba. Comrade Kule Mukupuri. We have the provincial gender convener, Comrade Lemulife. Western Cape, we have the provincial chairperson, Comrade Vusi Zen. Our student organization, SASCO, provincial secretary, Comrade Aspebis Magide. We have the national convener, Comrade Timko.
Unite, Christian Province, unite.
CEO, Mayor Elam Falat.
Viva, Sadtu, viva.
Viva! And then, structure now. It's represented by a member of the trustee, it's Comrade Taban Charlie.
Long live, Sadtu, long live.
We have invited our district directors from all the districts. The district director from Lijueli Puzwa, and then Mangau Metropolitan Education District. We have Comrade Zamba Molowe. And then we have our partners only seen inside here.
Viva Sadtu, viva!
I think I covered everyone. South Africa. From South Africa.
Sadtu lives and Sadtu leads. Amanda.
Marama.
Viva!
Thank Comrade will introduce them as and when they arrive during the proceedings of the conference. Thank you very much.
Comrades, I have the pleasure of calling upon the provincial
on this occasion of our provincial conference, let me acknowledge the presence of the Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Nkosana Dolopi, the Vice President for Sports, Arts and Culture of the National Executive Committee, Comrade Mokholwane Moloi, NEC members who are also chairpersons and secretaries in different provinces present here today, invited National Alliance, the ANC as led by its chairperson, Comrade Nkolisi Dukwan, Provincial Secretary, Comrade Tiseto Mahlatsi, and Sanko. The MEC for Education absentia, the Free State Head of Department for Education, Comrade Tshwarelo Malakwa. Let me just pause. The MEC has tendered an apology to be saying that she is currently engaged in budget votes. What is more strange, comrades, is that these budget votes were being undermined. You know, when people begin to undermine you, they don't be very closely with. But they fail to come to a very important meeting of Sadtu which comes after 4 years. provincial chairperson of ANC, these are your employees who are undermining your alliance partners. You were here since patient. You are still even patient now. We know that we have got a work to do, but where are they? You are not going to be undermined by the employees. All district directors present in this conference, and indeed we have noted only two, Comrade Moloi and Comrade Zondi. We don't know what is happening. Members of the Free State Provincial Executive Committee, regional office bearers from all the 6 regions of our province, delegates from the basic units of our Sadtu is led by its provincial secretary, then NASJEP led by Comrade Charlie, Mutual, African, and Sadtu, which is our future cooperative bank. Staff members from the national office, from the provincial office, and 3 days until Friday. Teachers, education workers, learners and communities in general, within the boundaries of our province. These sectors of our society, and in the main our members, will surely have interest in the outcomes of this conference, precisely every sector of society, in taking the transformation of our country forward through education. Comrade Chairperson, it is precisely 4 years to convene a provincial conference after every 4 years. It is as a result of this directive from the Constitution that we are here today. Mandate to formulate policies and program of action for the province, and to ratify, amend or reverse any decision of the PGC, PEC and RTGMs. Because they speak to the heartbeat of our work as a union, which is to provide service to our members as pillars. As I'm speaking to you now in this conference, there is a member in Kharib district who is eagerly awaiting for the outcomes of this conference on rural allowance within the Free State Department of Education. The expectations from our members on this conference are high, comrades, and we dare not fail. In 1994, that all oppressed people in the country were freed from the bondage of apartheid slavery. This freedom that we are celebrating to deprived of their youth. As we mark the commemoration of this Freedom Month, we should begin by locating Sadtu as a union in the fight for freedom. Injustice within the education sector. Comrade Chairperson, Sadtu was born out of the womb of struggle. It was from the classroom space. This conference has to respond to this question. Are our classrooms revolutionary? To remember that April month is a month in which our heroic struggle icons passed on. It is in this month that we lost the General Secretary of the ANC, Comrade Chris Hani, for elections. It is also in April that we lost the longest serving president of the ANC, President Oliver Reginald Tambo, for his people despite his ailing health. It is also during this time of the month when the country lost one woman who was tortured, harassed, and humiliated by the apartheid, and a deeper reflection on the work that was done in implementing the decisions of the 2022 conference. When he said, and I quote, "Hide nothing from the masses of our people. Tell no lies. Expose lies whenever they are told. Mask no difficulties, as lies contribute to our demise as a union." Over these past 4 years, we encountered challenges where we need to be honest same end as this conference, we then must, that as a union, we earn the respect of government and society as a whole. Growth also at a rate that we are expected to grow in. Chair, we are well aware of both the internal and external factors that impede. The first threat that one can talk about is the type of a leader we have elected in our structures. Safe and protected when they are amongst their leaders. A leader should be available at all material times to attend to members of a leader that a member of Sadtu is looking for, so that the leader can be able to defend him or her. I'm not selfish interest as at the expense of members. Yes, clap hands so that I can do it. About members outside. Some branches are only Kawe, Kamina, Kawe. Forgetting that there are also members on the ground that have applied for this post. Position. But we cannot do that at the expense of the members. We cannot do that. That is not the reason why Sadtu was formed. HOD post, deputy principal post, you hold. Comrades, if you do those things, do them in your own name. Don't do them in the name of Sadtu. Don't destroy our education system through the selling of posts. And I still want to say, Sadtu members don't sell posts. Perhaps it's to have my commission coming to education, to come and investigate all these things. There are good people, very good teachers. But because as you are here as delegates, are you here just for the fun of being away from school for 3 days? Boast about the beautiful paraphernalia that you obtained from the Sadtu conference. Are you this one? At some point, you know it's easy to identify paraphernalia delegates. They are always outside. When they go to a meeting where they're supposed to go and report, they'll be saying, hey, ask about the conference. Rural allowance back. That teacher in Karib has sent you here so that their voice can be heard. You are here representing who do not take their work seriously. Leaders who do not take members seriously. And this is a sign of disrespect to those practitioners whom we have observed how the employer, comrade police, how the employer is capitalizing to exploit these workers. Perhaps, comrades, to drive the point home, I should share with you a WhatsApp message that we received. Resebetsa all out, Mari Harikotofali Kaman's end. Itula ili bohloko ka ho khola statement seo re se kholang. Uri o ya town ka sona tšhelete e sharp. Re sebetsa same class, same qualification, a benefit of fita nna. Le wena leadership because harima tichere re patalla Sadtu mahala. Ka nnete le fela le phethahatsa taba e siule motsia ke le metse maikutlo ke taba ya grade R re lokela ho tshabela kae rona Fight injustice at the workplace. Comrades, this is injustice in its worst form, and it has to be confronted to rescue ECD practitioners. We want to thank our national leadership for the guidance that they continue to provide on matters related to ECD. Only through the National Development Plan that they acknowledge the ECD phase as the most essential period in the schooling life of a child. This cannot be true, since the ANC ready to govern care will be undertaken by the state. Comrade colleagues, as you go and meet your PEC, quote, how far are you in absorbing all ECD educators We've last seen as they went to school to finish their degrees, but up until today, no absorption is being done. So this conference has a responsibility. Comrade Chair, this conference is therefore seized with the task of radically engaging on this matter for fresh policy proposals to be tabled even before our NGC. Comrades, we are a union that subscribe to the rule of law, underpinned. I heard Northern was talking about the supreme law of the country, underpinned by the Constitution of the Republic as a country, and disunity amongst members themselves. Comrades, for the period under review, we have noticed some undermined the basic prescripts of our Constitution and our culture as our union. As a union. Comrade Chair, we should be swift in dealing with it, no matter who has committed an act of discipline. Otherwise, this will spread like a cancer in the body of tried and tested leaders of Sadtu. But just because your friend is in the wrong, you want to protect that friend. But when somebody else was in the wrong, you were quick to be saying, now liberalism to thrive in our union. We applaud our PEC for remaining vigilant and without that sought to distract us from defending members. Comrade Chair, that is why it is critical to take the Sadtu student chapter seriously. These comrades from student chapter, they are complaining. They are saying when we go to schools, acknowledged, we are not even called to those meetings. Comrades, we are appealing to yourselves. The student chapter, its primary responsibility, it is to educate the school. You should have interest to check as to whether they belong to a Sadtu student chapter or not. I'm told that NAPTOSA has started with that program. Our own program, they have started with it. Why? Because we are silent about that program in our schools. Comrade Chairperson, while there were setbacks these past 4 years, I will lift just a few, as many will be dealt in during the Secretariat report. It is worth noting that to downplay the gains and the achievements of this PEC. They continue to suffer. Frantz Fanon says, and I quote, sometimes people hold a core belief that is directed against that belief. The new evidence cannot be accepted. It would create a feeling that is extremely uncomfortable. To protect the core belief, they will rationalize, ignore, and even deny anything that doesn't fit with the core belief. Comrade Provincial Deputy Secretary has designed this microphone. You were told just because you don't want to fit in this new evidence that we have been given. That's what we have many. Inherited a debt to the tune of 6 million rands. For the period under review, this debt prevented us from developing programs as we have loved to. With the support of the National Executive Committee, we need now to come with this thing of austerity measures and indeed so that we are able to deal with this urgence of the employer to take decisive action on this matter. Through an investigation that was conducted, came about as a result of unity that was displayed throughout the campaign in this district. Now, we measure term winner in Sadtu. There are some, they think they know better, they know Sadtu better. They think they know Sadtu better. That is why they do bad things. What they are doing, comrades, is nothing else but to kill Sadtu. We cannot smile. But we are not going to do it on personal things, no, on work. We are principled as Sadtu. Now, we were told to be given a feedback to be saying, no, we are removing. See in the ECD? Yes. Syrian primary school. Yeah. If she calls us to the meeting, there's somebody to act. Now there's somebody else apparently who getting a back door. The one who acted before, we never had a word, but we were happy that they consulted us to say this particular person is going to act. That is why, Comrade Chairperson, we congratulate our class of 2025 for a steady performance of 89.3%, which was of course a drop from 91% from the previous year. What we should not allow is the exploitation of workers through camps. And Makoma Free State need. We said to them, if you are going to force our members to participate in these extra classes, then please pay them in line with what from the campaign. I'm not so sure whether you are still there, Comrade Mukolis. I'm not sure, I'm not going to Arabic. We have unemployment rate in South Africa stood at 32.39%. If we include those who have given up seeking for work, the unemployment rate is bomb that might explode at any time. The question that this conference has to respond to is, are we really giving our children? We have seen how the world is gradually being plunged into a crisis. The support of apartheid Israel on its attack to Gaza, seeing how the working class and the poor are beginning to suffocate due to prices that are going up as a result of an increase in the price of oil. Test state power. The NEC will convene a special national congress to develop an approach. Seeing what is happening with the provincial secretary of the KZN. She's been taken out of context. We continue to support according to what the Congress have directed us. Maputo. We said, Comrade Maputo, we said, this party, as the working class, we believe this party, as the working class, we believe that the NDR is our direct route to socialism. NDR is our direct route to socialism. What is this thing that you are doing? What is this thing that you are doing? Even as the Patriotic Alliance were depending on the wisdom of the Revolutionary Alliance of the ANC and the SSP. Revolutionary Alliance of the ANC and the SSP. Let us close ranks and unite. On behalf of the peace of Sadtu in the Free State, I declare this meeting officially in the Free State. I declare this meeting officially open. Thank you.
Can you please assist with having the delegates come in? We understand some are standing outside. If they can come into the conference hall so that we can continue with the business of today. empty chairs, leadership. Leaders, please assist. Southern, ensure that all delegates are back inside. Deputy Secretary of Manuti, Secretary of North, continue with the program, comrades. I would like to give over to Comrade Aida Marema to give us a message of support. If she's back in the conference hall. Comrades, as we sing and wait for Comrade Aida to ascend the stage, is just going to give an outline of what Marema told us. I just made a little bit of a mistake when I said that she'll be giving the message of support. Thank you, Comrade Aida, for watching.
Thank you, Corporate Director. Colleagues, our esteemed
Some respect. Can we please settle down? Thank you.
Thank you, valued educators, our champions of education, and all the stakeholders represented here. Good afternoon to us all. Institute and Agent Training and Consultancy. We are Maramato Group Holding oversees all the functions of Maramato Training Institute and Agent Training and Consultancy. So Maramato Training qualifications, your accredited skills development programs, and vocational training programs. We focus on upskilling individuals, fostering employability and supporting and consultants specializes in educator support and curriculum-focused interventions. Please pardon my voice, I am having a bit of a flu. The following expertise: teacher development and support programs, curriculum and learning material development. Maramato Training Institute, as I said earlier, focuses on your full qualifications and skills programs. We are accredited with different CETAs, namely your ETDP CETA, full programs that are occupationally oriented. We also have member affiliations with APET. Our advanced diploma in school leadership and management is a 2-year online-based program, which is delivered in this manner.
From this conference, if I can give you a breakdown of how much we spend for this conference, you begin to appreciate. They covered almost 40% of the cost of this conference. We have spent not less than 1.6 million for that.
Thank you, Chairperson. As I was saying earlier, which targets basically your SMT members, your HODs, your deputy principals, and your principal. It's a 2-year full-time program, 10% being your exam times that are written at the institution. The program is outlined in the minimum requirements for teacher education qualification as a seat for school managers. The purpose of the advanced diploma in school leadership is to provide school leaders and prospective managers with necessary skills, The modules in the program are aligned with 5 main kinds of leadership needed for enhanced teaching and learning. So it is a fully fledged program that are needed in leadership and management in the school environment. It is outcome-based, and learners construct their own knowledge based on understanding real volumes of evidence, which are evidence-based, so that there is a match between the theoretical aspect and the practical aspects of the program, including the exams. We currently have footprints in terms of students within the same program. In addition to that, we have a program called Leadership and Management for School Managers. This program has, at this point, treat and manage your mentoring, your governance, and your financial aspects. It is a program that has got all in all 72 credits, and it is as an institute, we pride ourselves in capacity building for principals, practical compliance aligned training with real impact in schools, because institutions have gotten, they have been recognized in their respective schools. Advancing quality education through continuous professional development and aligning programs with skills development legislation and national priorities. One would ask, why would Maramato facilitators and assessors and moderators, and we offer support-oriented transits, the learning facilitators physically visit the students in the actual schools where they are. It is in alignment with the theoretical aspect of the program. We also focus on sustainable improvement, which says that there is return on investment.
Another big round of applause. Let's then allow the provincial coordinator of
Marcha! Viva Sadtu, viva! Viva! Viva Sadtu, viva! Viva! Viva ANC, viva! Viva! Viva SSCP, viva! Viva! Marcha!
Program Director, Leadership of Sadtu Free State, distinguished delegates, educators and comrades, we bring you in the Free State. It is both an honor and a responsibility to stand before you today, not merely to deliver a message of support, but a shared struggle and a shared future. Because comrades, when we speak about Sadtu, we are not speaking about an organization in transformation agenda. Comrades, teachers have never been neutral in the history of this country. During the darkest, not only educating, but conscientizing, not only teaching curriculum, but teaching resistance, identity and dignity. Classrooms became sites of struggle, possibilities not diminished.
it has evolved. Because the struggle today is no longer only against political exclusion, it is against economic exclusion. Comrade, we live in an era of artificial intelligence. But what does this say to education and advancement of society in general? Perhaps we need to zoom in and check what does this say to us as the South African Democratic Teachers Union. While living in what we can and apply it, it is changing how students learn, how teachers teach, how economies function, and ultimately how societies are structured. So the question is AI coming? No, AI is here. The real question is who controls this AI? And who's in? Will it be used as a tool for liberation? This also AI presents this particular challenge. There's a growing danger that we must confront honestly. Producing a generation that knows everything but understands very little. Access to answers is increasing, but depth in thinking is declining. Comrades, intellectualism is ability to question, challenge, and innovate. If we allow technology to replace thinking, we'll produce dependent minds, not liberated thinkers. And this is where the role of the teacher becomes even more critical. If they are about them. No algorithm can replace human judgment. It cannot replace moral guidance. It cannot replace emotional intelligence. A machine can process data, but it cannot inspire purpose. A machine cannot stand in front of a classroom and say, I see you, I believe you, you mad. In fact, most of us would have ended up in prison if the teachers didn't intervene. That is the power that we must protect. The moral relationship between a teacher and a learner. Education is not transactional. It's not simply teacher speaks. A deeply human relationship built on trust, discipline, respect, accountability, and care. In many of our communities, teachers are parents to the parentless, mentors to the lost, role models in environment. Because we grew in an era where that didn't happen. Is that we have the erosion of discipline. We have disrespect in classrooms. We have violence against educators. This is not just an education crisis, it is a social. The African National Congress must respond. The SNCP must respond. Now, some will therefore call for a restoration of dignity and authority in the teaching profession. I think frankly, we cannot talk about education without talking about the economy. Because education that does not lead to economic participation in community. South Africa is facing a youth unemployment crisis, a skills mismatch, deep inequality, and the question we must ask is our education system producing those who can innovate, adapt, build, and create opportunities? We must fundamentally rethink what education prepares our learners for. We need digital skills to build capacity. Because in the future, jobs will not be guaranteed, but skills will create opportunities. Sanko family believes we must protect schools, parents must support educators, civil society must be involved, government must enable. When a school fails, it is not just a school failure, it is a community failure. Comrades, the challenges are complex. They are not insurmountable. What is required is unity of purpose, strategically led, future-focused, ethically grounded, economically empowered. Comrades, as Sanko Free State, we stand firmly with Sadtu. We recognize because your fight is our fight. In closing, comrades, the future is not something that will happen to us. It's something we must actively build. Let us leave this conference mission responsibly, to build a generation that's not only educated but liberated. Amandla! Viva Sadtu, viva! Amandla!
For the message of support that was relevant to ourselves as the education workers at the level of schools. And some of us looked at, we have been attending, so it's our responsibility. Comrades, when we receive messages of support like this, we are not going to interrogate them or engage them here at plenary, but we'll be able to discuss and engage on them during the commissions. So whatever that has been said here, please note it down, find it at the level of the commission. Thank you very much, the comrade class. Comrades, we are now going to call upon all. I see the board from
thank you, Chairman.
with Corona, that is why we have the stand of the mic. So you should go to the mic and speak there. But without any hair, one you are from the same side.
No, thanks, Chairman. Yeah, Chairman, we want to appeal to the electoral officers that the time for the closure of nomination be extended at least by an hour because there is a lot of administration required. Thank you.
Comrades, we've adopted the rules of procedure. And part of those rules was saying that every motion to be presented, a motion written down, submitted to the provincial secretary, and then the provincial secretary speak to that motion. I see many other boards now. I see one.
Thanks very much, Chair. Chair, we noted that particular constitutional premise, and we wrote a motion. We were awaiting the electoral officer to can come. Just that, Chair, we are worried because remember the motion need to be adopted again. Case come at 1 past, Chair, when it comes. So we submit.
But this is our meeting, don't forget that. We need to manage some of these things. The next. Yes.
We just supported that there was there's a motion there on expense. Thank you.
No, it's fine. Comrades, please, from now onwards, irrespective of whether the motion has to be attended to by the electoral officer, it should be submitted. Unfortunately, they haven't ended up receiving it as we speak. Where is Comrade Bonita? No, we managed, at least it has been raised. We managed that. It has been raised. A mine worker, to be precise. And I don't really say,
is the future.
Here now.
Provincial Chair, the Director of this session, the Provincial Office Bearers of Sadtu in the province of the Free State, the leadership secretary, the leadership of SAMCO, led by its provincial leader in the province that have just spoken to us today, the province and the entire leadership of the ANC that is in this room. Of course, special greetings to Comrade Deputy General Sadtu and carrying the debate and discussions, comrades, compatriots and friends, delegates that are drawn from the walks of life of our nation, our movement, and the global community. That South Africa is currently experiencing a profound discontent within working class communities and intensified struggle regarding the direction of the state of the Republic of South Africa. That is before us is whether the gains of our liberation will be fortified in favor of the workers and the impoverished, or organization and the marketization of every aspect of its existence. This context frames our understanding of the state of the South African Revolution.
Sorry, comrades, you know this is how it goes normally during the election. Comrades, let's allow the electoral officer, common knowledge, to raise what she.
When the process of elections was started, we agreed that we have opened nominations at that time and we are going to close at 16 hours late. But subsequent to that, comrades, we were supposed to come now to that we think we must table at the level of conference so that we try and manage issues. As we said, we agreed upon that we must not do it, but again, it's your conference, comrades. We do not want to be dictating terms of the province. The noting says the closing of nominations was agreed upon to be at 16 hours 20. The upcoming leadership resolved that the conference adopted the extension of the closing of nominations to 17 hours. Next, Northeastern Free State is Northeastern Free State. That's the motion. We are tabling it for your consumption, comrades, as conference. If there are hands in support or against, so that we move forward. Disturbed a speaker on the floor. We do not want that. Central's hand is up, Southern region. And let's be honest with each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Central.
there's a new time. 30 minutes. Comrades, let's be honest with each other. We're wasting time of conference. No. Not that you were not in the list. It was going. Southern, followed by Goldfields. I need a pen. The floor is yours. 17 days. 17 hours 30. Southern? Yes, so it's hours 30. Thank you. Okay. Goldfields is ready.
We also like to second the motion of 17 days.
Okay. There are two segments to 1730. Can't speak in the middle of it, I think. Because wait, Kano was still here in other regions. This is your motion. So give it a chance. Hours or 2 hours, but I can't give you instantly. But next, we have second. There are two motions on the floor. The initial motion of seconding the extension is done by all the three regions. If I'm not making a mistake, three of the regions are extending the initial motion by 30 minutes. They agree as conference that what I've said in Marcus, followed by the stars. Do you know how much some of us hate abbreviations? Can you say not give full names, not names, because it feels like NASFAS or something? My apologies, Comrade.
That's very much stupid. We are withdrawing the motion.
Wait, Comrades, can we be in one meeting?
We are withdrawing the initial motion of the apologize for not listening. You want us. Indeed, you want us.
No, it's fine, Comrades. So, Comrades, we all agree of an extension. Comrade Peters, in your minutes, we are going to record as such. Thank you so much, Comrades. But Comrades, let's not leave you to the last minute. Telling forms without causing their nominees to sign. Remember, if you don't cause your nominee to sign, it's invalid. Watch that. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chair. There is no need to apologize because I had a benefit. So it's a very good break, at least to have a moment and a view to look into how best to sign. Of imperialist conflict, the strategic importance of the Communist Party 2026 electoral resolution, and the urgent need to defend public goods such as water, sufficient water, and democratic framework for public life. South African revolution remains incomplete while we have type in a formal political expression. The economic structure of apartheid remains deeply entrenched in property relations, freedom without economic transformation has resulted in millions of our citizens being formally unemployed and also live in our country, but still remain in material deprivation. This underscores the necessity of the national democratic revolution is the strategic pathway through which the revolutionary forces led by the working class must transform the structure of racial capitalism in our country. What has already been achieved, but also to pursue a more radical redistribution of power, resources, land, always encouraged to actively participate in the politics of our country. Workers generate value across all sectors, alienated from the wealth they created. In a capitalist economy, labor is perceived as a cost. Social goods are commodified. Education in particular is often reduced to a conveyor belt for the labor market and national transformation. From a working class perspective, education must cultivate not only skills, but also critical awareness and the confidence of an emancipated populate. Consequently, teachers play a strategic role in the revolutionary process. They are not frontline defenders of children's future. The constitutional right to basic education affirms that education is not a privilege that can be purchased. Capitalism continues to perpetuate inequalities in our societies. Even when headline economic indicators appear stable, they are expected to remain at 4.9% in 2026. Approximately 284 million workers still live in extreme poverty, and more than 2 billion reminder that capitalism can stabilize markets without addressing exploitation, informality, insecurity, and class inequalities. In macroeconomic language that begins to drift away from harsh realities that of low wages, precarious work services. In South Africa today, the education struggle is inseparable from the class struggle. When schools are overburdened, learners study without sufficient infrastructure, school nutrition is unreliable, and the state withdraws from its obligation. It is the children. Question in education is never abstract. It manifests in township schools, rural schools, unsafe routes to school, unpaid municipal bills, and the ongoing efforts to commercialize public education. This is why South African Democratic Teachers Union must be more than just a bargaining unit in the democratic future of our country. It is important, comrades, that the global balance of power is undergoing a significant transformation. The unit points to new centers of power, while the historical imperialist power continues to assert their influence through military alliances, sanctions, financial hegemony, ideological warfare, and direct intervention. They no longer operate within an uncontested global trade. Instability within justice. A more contested world can still be brutal environment, particularly when great powers, militarization, and the devastation of workers' situation throughout the world. It creates problems for our nation. The working class must the United States and Israel sharply illustrate this reality. On 21st April 2026, reported that described the conflict as producing the largest energy crisis in history, exacerbated by disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz, through which approximately 1/5 of the world's oil and flow into other countries. This conflict has not remained confined to a single region. It has heightened energy insecurity, destabilized confidence, and intensified broader economic disruption, which it will affect the working class as a whole. Concurrently, the IMF January 2026 and World Economic Outlook projected global growth for 2026 and 3.2% for 2027, before the latest escalation introduced additional instability. For that of imperialist war feels every present and every citizen, wherever he is, experience this difficulty. It manifests through rising increased fuel cost, inflation, hunger, transport expenses, pressure on public finances, and renewed calls for austerities in South Africa. The Minister of Finance probably in the coming days will be then delivering that. This reality permeates classrooms, clinics and households, budgets, services as stark reminder for bombs and militarization equipment that they deploy into our countries. The geopolitical dominance, while asserting that there is no municipal infrastructure, decent wages, or social production, our movement must therefore continue to advocate firmly for peace, anti-imperialism, away from militarism, and towards human development. In this context, the South African Communist Party decision to contest 2026 local it is not merely a gesture of manifestation of the emotional impatience, nor it is an abandonment of the broader liberation struggle and the revolutionary project. For instance, comrade, today we are talking of the city of Johannesburg that have 250 councillors. That is a council. In that province have won 85 wards in the 133 wards, and 50 plus wards are in the hands of other parties. And what has happened, it has 85 wards and 4 PRs. The point that we are pointing is that the system that we are using, electoral system that we are using, that system, the movement will be out of power. And the movement generally throughout South Africa in the coming elections and including in the oligarchs that are living livelier lives in our space are working so hard to reduce the movement's power and control into the state. And this is the shoes, and ultimately at the end of the day, all of us will be losers. No winner that is going to be there. We are seeing the consolidation of the wide organizations, African party cost, so that they can purchase the land, so that they can settle to it, and therefore they call for another republic called the Republic of the Western Cape. It's a challenge that we are facing and not growing, whereas the God that you pray for, He gives you sun, give you heat, which you can use the heat to change the economic outlook. It doesn't give us very good the ownership. It is pure sprinkle of chocolates that represent blacks in the broader cup of white individuals that are owning and controlling our economy. A mineral or gas mine, we keep quiet about those issues because because they've got a direct link to our conditions. And that is why when you see areas where we live, they remain poor. The democracy since the 30 years, we have managed to produce X, Y, Z, and all those that we have produced, they are not living here. That is why I turn the economic outlook of this country to benefit the people of South Africa and make sure that bourgeois interests that is beginning to take a center stage in our politics is sidelined, and the benefit of the economy of our country, it needs to be brought back to our people. And at the driving center of this, it is important leadership to note that because we are coming from schools, we must realize the fact that there is a decision about increasing tariffs on Africa. How do we relate with that situation? In the economy, that the economy is not growing. Water, it has been privatized or is in the process of privatization. We cannot allow private participants to get more benefit than people of South Africa themselves. The public resources, it must be managed by the public. Through the African National Congress and its alliance, it must lead the transformation of our economy. It is important, therefore, as we drive this program in this conference of yours, also to how do we make sure that we implement directly what is contained in the Bella Act and move away from postponing the Bella Act because it does benefit countries. It is through educators to drive that program, partnering with different members of society in driving the change that we need to do. It is the working class of our family and say these things that are benefiting us must come to us. The South African Democratic Teachers Union has a historical role. During this period, while also advocating for the children of workers, rural learners, township schools, the dignity of the teaching profession, the public nature of education, and the democratic future course, it must resist all attempts to depoliticize education and all efforts to transform schools into sites of exclusion. Teachers are not passive observers in the struggle for social transformation. They are amongst its most vital organized agents of change. Comrades, the South African revolution cannot progress if the working class retreats. Public education cannot be defended if the teachers are left isolated. Public services cannot be safeguarded if privatization is permitted to masquerade behind the polished language. Peace cannot prevail, cannot revitalize if its driving force abandons the sphere of ideas, organization, and the state. Let me conclude by saying, let us, with a collective commitment to defend the working class, uphold public education, protect public services, advance the national democratic revolution, the challenges that lies ahead. We must stand resolute against austerities, privatization, imperialism, and class collaborators. It is our nation must remain not only instructors of the youth, but also architects of just, democratic, and social future. We believe resolute to change conditions that we are facing. We wish you good luck in your conference. Thank you very much.
Agenda is social.
to be our political insurance. As the way every time when you listen to the party in meetings such as this one, know for sure that you are in a political school. Thank you, Father. Thank you very much. We have the lost and found items. I don't know, somebody is going to live here using a taxi. So once, if you have lost the car keys, please meet with the Provincial Deputy Chairperson. The other one is a cell phone. It's also found in the bathroom. Please meet with Comrade Fielder to access your item. Sunglasses as well. Unfortunately, these ones were found right here in the hall. And it's too dark in here. Sunglasses as well. Comrades, let me allow the Provincial Secretary to come and introduce guests. Comrades, we are going to have a very long night because we need to conclude the business of today so that tomorrow we are engaging in commissions and so on. Yes?
Provincial Deputy Chairperson of Limpopo, Comrade Amaila, Comrade, can you greet the comrades? Again, comrades, though the comrades have addressed us, but we still have to recognize and acknowledge their presence like we did with others. The Provincial Secretary of Sampo, Comrade Tulan, class, I did read the comment. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Provincial Secretary of the South African Communist Party, Comrade Charles Stoffel. Comrades, let me also take this opportunity to introduce the Provincial Secretary of Gauteng. We also have the president of our organization, Comrade Mapila, that is in the National Working Committee meeting. So we'll introduce him when he arrives. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much, Comrade Pierce. Please give me a round of applause here. Thank you very much. Comrade Pierce of the Communist Party, Communist Stoffel, I hope you will still be here when you are in commissions. And I want you to on your other hand, on your other hand, you know, comrades, it's true that we must pay schools, they must pay municipalities. But really, it's unfair to wait for a school to owe the municipality to switch all those lights with the 3,000. Now it's even worse. Comrade Mashat, you switch off the lights
I think the provincial chairperson of the ANC will speak to that as well. He's the former MEC for Kochna. We know, comrades, that schools must pay. Schools must pay the municipality so that the municipality can be able to render service, including with residential areas. Drive carry 80,000. Where is he going to get that 80,000? You have created a legitimate expectation. That's it. We need to talk about, because your members down there, they are confronted with these challenges. Comrades, let's then call upon the provincial chairperson of the ANC for this moment. And now he's the former member and leader of Sadtu.
There are a number of issues that we sometimes take for granted. I want to start off by indicating that as Sadtu, and was saying to the Provincial Secretary of Sadtu that I don't want to speak while I represent the ANC, because standing here has so many good memories. Memories about a union that gave us an opportunity to grow. That infused in us values that have allowed us to be who we are in dealing with issues that are confronting our society. It is therefore to include myself when I speak to you as we, as teachers, as educators. Kodwa mfunusebenzi once a teacher, always a teacher. Kuba isebenza yintini engathandiyo, once a bacania, always teachers are the vanguard of a profound societal transformation. Dealt with the trauma, with the challenges that the society that we transformed from had actually transferred to the new society. We are meeting at a critical juncture in South African history. Physical chains of apartheid have been broken. Yet the invisible chains of many, particularly the black child. What is happening in our society design that is in action, that is assisting, that is being involved in fragmentation among black people. Just by illustrating how the system undermines our growth and our development. As an organization, we have had the opportunity of leading the transformation of our society. But standing here today, having learned all other valuable lessons about what happens and how these chains are difficult to break. Let me just make an example that are still shackling us. Without getting too far, just to illustrate, in the province of the Free State, for instance, if we have 4 billion for infrastructure, billion of that amount goes straight to white companies. Simplifying it, in the Department of Education, if we have a billion rent for building of schools, 800 million of that money goes to white companies. And black people are competing for 200 million of that billion. And still they still have professionals and many. Because the bulk of the money that we're going to use in the building of the school school goes to building material. That is a field that we had. In our thinking and in how we deal with this, we undermine the system and understanding how the system operates. The South African society from growing. The Constitution speaks of building a society that is united and prosperous society. But I dare say today here that we will not build a non-racial society. I don't complain to you, but just to indicate that this task is not merely a task where you elect people on the base. It is actually getting people with vision, people who would be able to guide and lead this process. People who would be courageous to make employed administratively. And as long as our system of education is producing the kind of people we have and the kind of people we continue to produce, we are not going to change our society. Next person, because this system, number one, but the number one at what expense? More than and then we have a scope of another we are actually taking them out of the system. Why I don't want something together. You are not going to allow me to come back. Most people will say, and these are in destroying Manabarona simply because Rebecca Nade has made guilty. We are obsessed, you pass the rate. You go to Darona, you are more asking all right. Banabarona was sometimes like a class promo. Mana from Kuku level of education and key. It all more than thing it down. Get to another whole girl at school. So this in Hemo or a back at school. I give you a school the toilet that is a bit. I give you a school. I give you a school on a matata. The classroom dinner, ya matata. This reminds me of a young boy. When we were teachers, got a rabbit to school. As young teachers, motivating young people, especially as they were about to write matric. We got into this classroom and motivated this class. And one young boy's classroom, because as well opacity hand kana kuyo sna ile spasi emba ono ya dengo opacity metriki awasa kone utala be osawaiva joina the stars. In the process they got killed that day. Remember what I'm planning now for a failure because I will be able to come back to school and be able to do something. When they don't see any progress over capacity, the graduate but high. The message we have been saying education is the key. So I'm just saying there's a lot that we need to do as a country. Empire is fair as a concept, as a theoretical concept. This must be an agent, pedagogical mandate of all of us as teachers. Knowledge. The knowledge system is inferior. It has been nurturing in our society. It is your responsibility as educators to reverse this. We must insist on this happening sooner. When the Afrikaners took over power in 1948, they understood their challenges, that there were very few. And in doing that, they then spoke to their own people. Or you are superior. And they did everything to demonstrate that to all of their people. But they also made sure that the language, even a tool, even the culture, you would never but how they were specific, what kind of people that they wanted, who would help their agenda. And they would instill that sense, the pride, everything that they were doing. All who are Africans, when not studying to even for that. Over the ones already, you brought Africans there. And then you don't see how. But Rona, we will always colleagues, comrades, the system here is actually well built. SACP, Sanko, Offeraro. Let's again the root there into the For instance, one of the things that they had, the decisions that they were taking. Who discuss? We didn't talk, they will do something that day. Then we Retabana Fela, Nando Tenata, the women, or Alcobana of Fela. The only issue you are bad. Your decision, you are bad. As an organization, recognize the alliance. We might have these challenges, but we don't need how listen it was our ANC. Otamaya o campaign, o campanela, mehato. I would think you want to interpretation ya trena. Baba Bangola Barma Comunisi Akara, Pilote, like in the rest of the speaker, or in the rest of the to pull the Galamara. Baba possession saying in their own right as well as the ANC. But they also wanted to carry out divine categorization. We remember the ANC. Where we campaign whichever one. Because the Galicians are not necessarily okay. Because again, Betty can the motive create a situation again. Between the Mahata more very team, and to some or the Sierra one of the Mayan. Maybe Galway, the Barona, a government carried that. According to the Camino, they rebuild themselves with the Anabaro. It's fair and democratic victims. The American society was built. How Sheba, the feeling the Papa, Gana Queen, the Papa, the Trinity, Capogema, Ulwana, Anemu, Artificate, Matumana Cafe. In a good night, like a war. What about the Gamma when I guess or no? Let's go to Mr. Zala Carolina and also good fair. If anyone knows. So, before you want to go to the body.
Our amendments, in terms of time, conference agreed to extend to 17 hours 30. We are here, comrades, to formally close two nomination screening and validation, and we shall then come back to conference to table that report. Thank you so much, comrades. Amanda.
So my grandmother, another in 20 hours, the problem is they don't have no hula. The time I'll change our mindset there, you will never change anything. Come and say anything or not. You know the mistake. Moba to barona moto. Akafumana nko. Ababa but this one. Ununa these stations. Pasivita. Unalembra bila kuona akomera le mobasivita. Iya ona jwale. o sheba di-pattern tsena tse ntse di tswella pele tsa ho builda makeishene a rona. Ha re batle ho tjhentjha ho na le mobu o ongwang ke masepala haufinyana le toropo hobane makgowa ha batle. Ha re addresse di ba lla ka hore o theola boleng ba property tsa bona. Then rona ka bo rona re le di-decision makers. We need to understand exactly re batla ho achieve eng. Re etse dintho tse thusang batho ba rona. E seng tseo ba bang ba reng ha wa tlameha ho di etsa. Ke ka hoo ke ra hore katleho ya ke tswelopele ya ba bang ka hara community ena. Empa rona re etsa katleho ena ke katleho se so many things tse tswang ke di-comrades tsa rona. You didn't know that it was the role. The way we speak to one another when we are in these positions of authority lives in my society. We need to move from victimhood to agency. We need to cultivate a mindset that refuses to be passive on Lucas. Commission the 30 Commission. What is being projected more regarding black people are actually inherently corrupt. This narrative, comrade, here on the self-hatred, Rona Kamuna, having answered the Rubicon Washer, Kisona says the Alana Jwa. More Arima to Baba Savana who would and NATO. Obama corrupt, inherently corrupt. Dr. destroyed Matom Aru, proving what this guy said in the right. Come forward and tell me the Muslim. That's what we are. But we are so obsessed with the white people or the system again. Yeah, some of our best players, but while they are doing that, comrades, so you get married to a white woman. When your career, I don't know if man is sponsorship, if man is endorsement, the charity is white man. All divorce. Of man 50% charity. So we're not sitting guy. So their money is taken back. And then come Ramo Basana Davanwe. And these things are happening. And then the victims. It's because Aristotle and Isakello, they are not removed. The program, I'm a school friend. This campaign is very, very important. It must be a living reality. We must work together in our own communities to foster a culture that discipline. You know, I remember punishment in Innocent. And I remember a friend work in a school. You know, you don't have a guy that can watch you. Now you need to have the man teacher there. Now, whatever you come to the class, you give them. But get a loan, you are on a more in Kilakela or Kabaka or Sabrina. Yes, and then one and a half punishment. Remember, our say that they did without discipline of Navarro. Discipline had talent school, it can one out one that they must not come. Half in the school of children are at one or so for us to be able to engage our own parents, or back about what the book or back in the school, Louis and Skolo sena se ke se integrate, skolo le community, me re tle re bone e ba gretle ya o buisa ngwana kaofela. O le no da ka ba tishe. O go ba le ngwana skolo, o ba bone ka re ba etsa ka bomo. Le ngwana mshanyana le ngwana ba ba nyenyana ba bone na ba mo community so that re ke re khutlise seriti sa motswadi le ngwana a tsebe karolo ya ena society ora ba iphedisa. So re a kopa exploitation. We can't just accept that in 21. We need to have critical thinkers as in the technocrats. We need our power now about critical thinking of our children for the future that is past. Next time I start forever, what you have, what is the certificate on this order, it will be your ability to solve the problems that is going to help you deal with. Say that Yarona, your liberation, if anything, it's that last moment. Lady midwives, the society, the citizens, citizen patriotic here, who are conscious of their duty to accept this noble and revolutionary responsibility. It is not a burden too heavy for you. Educator whose energies are meant to ensure that a new society is born. But you must be the architects who make sure that the new is born. All on our side, the Bonsi is the worry. About the man, silver standard. Pacific tell us about the number today. You were able to adopt today. And I went back to the officials of the ANC province and said, you know, something very interesting. Have a way, you all respect our constitution. They understand that they have adopted the constitution and that they must apply the constitution to the matter. That consistency is helping you undermine. It is not who are doing everything just to be elected. Also, not only the image organization, we've just had a conference here, Richie. It started to come up the whole day. And then Ofidela midnight, the camera followed the country. Now, our conference, half of the time our conference is anybody we are unable to deal with every issues they face today, so how can we deal? How can we trust you that issues they face today as a society? So we need to really deal with the issue here. 5 minutes, what do you have to deal? They dealt with everything that was in deal with. Wow! When they came to conference saying, okay, do it. So, we not participate in the process in Vienna. And the democratic process, and our voter out process was there. There are still people, as you know, still the ones our organization. All of them are very back. So you really begin
Provincial Chairperson of the ANC in every state. The Provincial Chairperson has touched on similarly to what the Provincial Secretary, all those areas covered. It's important that they find expression in our commissions. Even the name policy, carry wisdom, your lyrics and guide on to this meeting. But what they did was to show us that there is a need to foster for unity. They for that. We're really expecting for that. Comrades, again, we are going to Lord Chairperson, the first disclaimer, Pastor Provincial I was preparing to write a speech. So I wrote my English for two reasons. But the most reasons were I knew that the African National Congress is going to be represented. So you must take your red pens. South African trade unions, your own federation in the province. The federation that I know Sadtu is proud of. To the national leaders of the Sadtu, led by its president, led by my own provincial chairperson of the federation, Comrade Khape. It's because we elected him on Valentine.
The delegates from various of the Sadtu from provinces, you are well recognized, comrades. Our alliance partners, how beautiful when the alliance from you is your child. The rest will follow. If you ignore us, we run mad. We don't. Our service providers, but most importantly, let me recognize the staff of the South African Democracy who continue to man our offices. Thank you very much, our officials. Our privilege as COSATU, your federation, to address your third quadrennial provincial conference, convened under the theme and United Revolutionary Professionals in strengthening foundational learning and functional skills to advance inclusive and sustainable economic growth in pursuance of a social, on how to strengthen the ability of Sadtu to continue championing its aims, such as eradicating all forms of discrimination in education, and to strive towards a free and breathe. It must perpetually assess its vision and mission, and thus renew towards their strategic goal. We are confident a transformed and decolonized public education curriculum, safety in our school in the province for both teachers and learners, paying for proper and quality infrastructure in our schools. Your federation and its on a clear joint program to be undertaken in improving our education system, which includes, amongst others, resuscitating the organs of people's power through an education front. Like the 7 features defined for education in the late 80s for the new South Africa, and use them as a yardstick to measure progress on the transformation of a change. The I Am School Fan as a COSATU campaign, not a slogan. And I'm proud, and I've started lobbying, because besides being a provincial chair, he's the Speaker of the legislature. So I've set a want to partner with the Free State legislature to implement a school fan campaign. We know that Sadtu will emerge from this gathering united, determined to defend the hard-won rights of teachers and fear a better life. Sadtu has shown and resembled a very disciplined child of the left, and have always embraced unity to gallantly fight and defend the struggles of teachers, workers, and the working class. We know conferences have its own flair, but it must not threaten your unity. As Pastor Briggs always teaches in the church, I like when he quotes Matthew 18 chapter by President General Oliver Tambo, when he closed the National Consultative Conference in 1969 in Morogoro, when he said, and I quote, "The enemy is vigilant. Beware of the wedge driver, men who creep from year to year, driving wedges amongst us, who go around creating splits and who don't like peace of mind, who don't enjoy when people are happy and united. Let them make them run. Unity is in our blood.
you allow them, comrades, to split us, if you fail to preserve the unity, it will be a betrayal to the work of those activists who have solidarity with colleagues, fellow citizens, and with people all over the country in struggle against injustice, inequality, and exclusion in the workplace. We are living at a very difficult time. And exhaustive. We are living at a time you fight for this member to get a promotion. Tomorrow he resigns from the union and joins the rival union. We are living at a time, comrades, all leaders to be promoted to be at a managerial position. When they excel and become in that office, they change their faces. They are by the same side that fought for them. We are living, comrades, at a historic moment in the role of trade unions. Trade unions of fighting for and providing protection for workers are now in a position of new circumstances. I believe the leadership defining role in the current trying times in the world and in our country as we build the future of our economy and our society. A trade union is the prime mass organization of the working class. To fulfill its purpose, it must be as broad as possible and to maintain its legal status. It must attempt in the first place to unite on an industrial basis all workers at whatever level of political conscience economic conditions. It cannot demand more as a condition of membership, but because the state and its political and repressive apparatus is an end of the broader political conflict, close quote. This giant trade union stand as a champion of progressive builders of consciousness and advocate for social transformation. The world and indeed Sadtu commitment to foundation learning and skills development is at the heart of our just call for a sustainable and painful socio-economic challenges that society, and in particular the working class, encounter. It is the Federation called to defend the Bela Act that has now been assented. This marriage of convenience, the Gichimanangu Satan, want to challenge this Bela Act. To an education, including media mother tongue. We urge you, comrades, that this conference must not only focus on about the challenges facing the workers, trade unions of the left, our Congress movement, and the alliance. This conference for constitutional formality. We are here to reflect on the battles we have waged on behalf of workers collectively over the past. To revisionate our trade union and its federation, and to strategize for the struggles ahead. We must go back and show the members
that you are not here in your personal capacity. You are representing. Swallow your pride and thank the workers for identifying you to lead them, not the other way around. And sleep deep and dream and ask God to take away this demon of selling out in your Congress does not need demagogues. We don't need Judas Iscariot. We don't need state leaders. We don't want lumens. We want fighters. We want Bolshevik shop swords. If you are a coward, you are in the wrong place. Those countless executivists who gave their all to the building of this giant trade union movement and to the construction of a better. Just after PW bought of the state of emergency, which was one of the last kicks of the dying system of apartheid, set history in this country. We cannot sell this effort. This giant Sadtu was born because our founders had a progressive vision. Yes, the 1985 resolution of the COSATU founding Congress did add the impetus to the need to form this giant who care to be found out that we are about. One, don't mistake us. We are not catalysts. We are not the sellouts. That's why we must deal with all those. This is a worker control union that values its constitutional decision and fights for their implementation. This is an affiliate of COSATU that values faith in your presence. COSATU's outlook is anchored in the National Democratic Revolution as our direct route to socialism. The National Democratic Revolution is clear on the interconnectedness of both the international and domestic balance of forces in changing South Africa to the benefit of all its people. We affirm our bond of comradeship and shared responsibility that the African national partners in the National Democratic Revolution. This alliance remains relevant towards the historic responsibility of transforming the state and fundamentally our central committee, we reaffirm that the alliance has been historically united through its minimum program, being a national democratic revolution as a direct route to socialism that can ultimately lead us to a socialism world. Our central committee contests election with ideological clarity, ensuring working class representation and alignment with the broader goal of the National Democratic Revolution. We believe that a united alliance will make in the society. Comrades, we are where we are today because our beloved Congolese, the African National Congress, has neglected its duty to the nature does not allow any virtue. We have asked the African National Congress a simple task. Leader, we want you here. We love our Congress movement. Leaders. South Africa is currently ensnared in a deep structural crisis that goes beyond temporary economic stagnation. It is a systematic failure marked by austerity and
unemployment rate, where the economy no longer absorbs labor but instead fragments the workplace through and informalization. This has created a dual reality where an assertive capitalist class are pushed into precarious informal activities or total reliance on social grants for survival. It's very worrying gradually and pride in developing a grand society, a begging society. Employment is our young people, and we as the Congress movement come back to the alliance so that it's a society which wants to chill, it's a poison. They won't give you solution. They want the Congress movement date. And we are spending in the Congress movement. Come back. Because what we are facing, it's a number one crisis. Not the Kijimanangu Sata. And we welcome the fact that the president of the far from where we need to be. Acknowledging that for too many people, life remains hard. Jobs are scarce. Stunting remains very significant barriers to building a thriving society. We are in danger of creating a permanent class that can navigate through this crisis. From our central committee, we emerged with one voice to defend the alliance. When we demanded the constitutional enshrinement of workers' rights, the passing of our labor laws, and our many other progressive. When Sadtu House was bombed in 1987, nor were they to be seen when the UDF was banned. This very same opposition party's comrades, they have stated unambiguously that they will scrap the minimum wage and collective bargaining, remove protections from unfair comrades. The outcomes of the 2024 general elections mark a strategic setback for the liberation movement and its alliance. Without voter turnout reflects not merely electoral decline, but a deepening crisis of legitimacy and popular confidence in the capacity of the democratic institutions and electoral politics. This disengagement is not ideological apathy, but a political indictment of governance failures, unmet socio-economic expectations. Local government, historically conceived as a site of participatory democracy and developmental delivery, has become a site of. This further undermines the ANC's standing and places the alliance under severe strain. A government led by the opposition parties will spell the end of the many victories. We cannot afford to gamble upon the rights of the workers. Comrades, I will be failing if I don't finish my message without commenting this. And with your support as structures on the work done over the last 4 years of your term. But you are son of the left. You are a son of the National Democratic Revolution. You need to soldier. There are decades where nothing happens. And there are weeks where decades happens, close quote. The past tense was very difficult, and starting the Godongwan with his austerity measures. We wish you well in your conference, hope we emerge more united and strong. Secretary of Sadtu, the Free State. Comrade Masasi is serving structure wherein Elijah Bahai was serving in. He's serving in a structure where Halima of Kosal. You can take it from there. You can take it from there. So thank you very much, Comrade Masasi. And thank you very much for always. He was with us from the bottom, running up until we reach the message that we gave to this conference. Comrades, let me just make you aware, in the event the Vice President, we are going to wait up until the results are announced. Not even the results, but the report is here in Paris. Nobody's going home. C'est là, sorry. We are going to call the Provincial Secretary, Comrade Briggs Moloi, to come and introduce other
First here we have the president of our organization. So may I request the president appeal to Chris. We have the provincial secretary, Comrade Walter. Of the host district. He and the HOD apologized for arriving because of other work commitment. So Dr. Suda.
Ayule Sadtu, ayule.
Only comes after 4 years. That's what we need from you. One is for about 2 hours. Just be with you. I'm not going to mince my words. Even with the MEC, we're not here. But she's saying that she's attending the budget votes and so on. She could have come and left, attend that. We're not here. But what they say, you are welcome. Complex, let me allow the Vice President who's dealing with you.